The National Weather Service issues the watches and warnings that tell you severe weather is coming: tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, flash floods, winter storms. This module shows you how to bring those alerts straight into TicketsCAD so your dispatchers see them, your situation map draws them, and, when you want it, your radio reads them aloud. Who is this for? A repeater owner who wants warnings for their counties announced on the air. An emergency operations center that needs the whole staff to see a tornado warning the second it drops. A dispatcher who cannot watch a weather feed and run a board at the same time. This is the same job amateur radios, SKY warn spotters have done for decades, relaying warnings to the people who need them, and TicketsCAD automates the relay. Here is the whole journey. First, a quick but important note: the feature ship's turned off, and it is United States only because it talks to the National Weather Service. Then, in order, set up a voice so bulletins can be spoken. Install the poller that fetches alerts. Turn the feature on and tell it your contact email. Draw your coverage area. Write a routing rule. And finally, use it. We will do voice first because the radio readout depends on it. Step 1. Set up a voice. Open Config, then Communications and Integrations, and under Voice choose Voice and Speech. This is where you manage the text-to-speech engines that turn written bulletins into spoken audio. Out of the box, there is one engine already here, Piper. Piper is the default for good reasons. It is free, it needs no sign-up and no API key, and, most important for a public safety tool, it runs entirely on your own server, offline. It keeps working when your internet is down, which is exactly when severe weather tends to knock it out. On any modern processor, it speaks a bulletin in milliseconds. For most installs, Piper alone is all you ever need. Let us hear it. Every engine has a test, listen button. I click it, and the server synthesizes a short sample and plays it right here in the browser. That round trip proves the engine is installed and working before you ever wire it to an alert. If test, listen, make sound, your voice is ready. Piper is plenty for radio, where the audio ends up compressed anyway. But maybe you want a more natural, higher quality voice for announcements, or you already run a voice server like Kokoro on your network. The engine system is pluggable, so you can add one. Let us add a second engine alongside Piper. Click Add Engine, give it a short key and a friendly label so it shows up clearly in menus later. Then pick the driver. Piper is one driver, the other is OpenAI-compatible, and that one covers a whole family of services, hosted OpenAI, Groq, or a local Kokoro server, because they all speak the same request format. Choosing that driver reveals its fields. You give it an endpoint, the address of the voice server, a model and a voice name, and an API key if the service needs one. For a local Kokoro server, the endpoint is an address on your own network and there is no key to buy. For a hosted service, you paste the key here, and TicketsCAD stores it on the server, never in the page. Test, listen again, right from inside the modal. This time it exercises the new engine. And here is the safety net that matters. If a hosted engine ever fails, unreachable, out of quota, wrong key, TicketsCAD automatically falls back to Piper. A cloud outage during a storm can never leave a bulletin unspoken. That is why Piper stays installed even when you add a fancier voice. Save, and the new engine joins the list right next to Piper. You now have a choice of voices. 2 engines is more than most installs need, but it shows the pattern, add as many as you like, and each one is one test. Listen away from proven. Now the part that ties voice to weather. Scroll to the Speech Applications table. TicketsCAD speaks in several places: a weather bulletin, a radio, AI reply, a Zello readout, an announcement, a phone call out, and each one can use a different engine. The row we care about here is Weather Bulletin. In the Weather Bulletin row, the engine drop-down chooses which voice reads or alerts. Leave it on Piper for rock-solid offline reliability, or point it at the engine you just added for a richer voice. There is a fallback column too, a second engine to try if the first fails, and a rate for the audio. For radio, Piper as the engine is the safe, boring, correct answer. Pick your engine and save the row. That is the whole voice setup, an engine that passes test listen, mapped to the Weather Bulletin application, with Piper always behind it as the fallback. Voice is done. Now we can make alerts flow. Step 2. Install the poller. Something has to fetch alerts from the National Weather Service on a schedule, and that job runs on your server, not in the browser. A small script asks the Weather Service every minute whether anything new applies to your area, hands what it finds to TicketsCAD, and lets TicketsCAD deduplicate and route it. Your dispatchers never wait on it and never see it, it just runs. On a Linux server, the clean way is a system timer. You drop in 2 small files, a service that runs the poll script, and a timer that fires it every minute, then enable the timer once. If you would rather use cron, a single line does the same thing, run the poll script every minute. Either way, match the schedule to the poll interval you will set in a moment. Before you trust the schedule, test the script by hand. Run it with verbose to watch it work, or with dry run to see what it would do without notifying anyone. And if you are on shared hosting with no cron at all, TicketsCAD can catch up on a page load instead, throttled so it is harmless everywhere. The poller is the engine that keeps everything fresh. Step 3. Turn it on. Open the Weather Alerts admin page from Config under Routing and Policy. The first control is the master switch, Enable Weather Alerts. Remember, this ships off. Nothing about weather touches your system until you tick this box. The badge up top tells you at a glance whether the feature is on. But before it will poll, it needs one thing from you, a contact email. The weather service rejects anonymous requests, so it wants an address that identifies your install, like dispatch at your agency. Leave it blank, and the feature refuses to poll and warns you on the health page. Set your poll interval, 30 seconds at the fastest, and leave the provider on NWS. Then, save your settings. Save, and the master switch is live. The poller you installed will now actually do something the next time it runs. But it still does not know where you are, or what to do with what it finds. That is the next 2 steps, a coverage area and a rule. Step 4. Your coverage area, the where. Click Add Area and give it a name. Then choose the kind. You can cover a whole state by its 2-letter code, a point, and a radius, say within 40 miles of downtown or specific counties. Counties are what most repeater owners and EOCs want, so let us do that one. Choose Zones and Counties. Type your state code and click Pick Counties. TicketsCAD asks the weather service for that state's county list and shows it right here as checkboxes, so this works anywhere in the country, not just for the example. No looking up cryptic zone codes by hand. Check the counties you serve, the Twin Cities Metro here, Hennepin, Ramsey, Anoka, Dakota, and their neighbors, and TicketsCAD fills in the codes for you as you go. Save the area, and it lands in your coverage list. That is your where. Alerts outside these counties are simply ignored. Step 5, a routing rule, the what to do. Click Add Rule. A rule ties one area to one destination. Point it at the area you just made, then choose a target. Tray puts a card in the dispatcher's notification tray. Chat, SMS, or email push it to people. DMR or Zello read it aloud on the radio. Let us build a radio rule. Choose DMR readout, and a field appears for the talkgroup number, your repeater's talkgroup 3127 here. Then set a minimum severity. Set it to severe, and only warnings, the serious ones, reach the air. The routine minor advisories never key up your repeater. A severity floor is how you keep the channel from becoming noise. Narrow it further with the event quick picks. Click Warnings Only and the rule fires just on warnings, or pick specific types like tornado or flash flood. The Message Types field controls whether you also act on updates and cancellations, and Repeat on Update decides whether a revised warning announces again. For strictly one announcement per warning, keep it to alerts only. Now the most important choice on the whole page, the mode. Notify puts it in the tray and never keys the radio. Operator Approve, the safe default, drafts the bulletin and puts it in an approval queue, where a human presses send before anything transmits. Autofire keys the radio unattended. For an amateur repeater, that difference is not just convenience, it is the law. Whoever holds the license is the control operator, responsible under the rules for every transmission. So autofire is deliberately double-locked. Choosing autofire on the rule is not enough by itself. There is a second, install-wide switch you must also throw, and it is off by default. Until you throw it, an autofire rule quietly waits in the operator approval queue instead of keying. 2 settings in the radio readout box make it legal and safe. Set the licensee's call sign. Every amateur transmission signs off with it, as the rules require, so the readout ends. This is N0NKI clear. And there is the second lock, unattended keying off by default. Flip it to aloud only when you truly want hands-off announcements, and you understand you are the control operator. On Zello, note, there is no call sign, because Zello is an internet service, not a radio. Save the rule. You now have a complete pipeline. Your counties, filtered to severe warnings, read aloud on your talk group with your call sign, either after a human approves each one or fully automatic once you have thrown both switches. This is the SKY Warn repeater recipe built in the web interface. Step 6. Use it and prove it works without waiting for a storm. The test tools at the bottom let you fire a synthetic severe alert. I click Send Test Alert to Tray, and TicketsCAD injects a fake Minnesota warning, exactly as if the Weather Service had just issued one. Watch the notification bell. There it is! The tray catches the alert as a card, with the event, the area, and the severity, and it plays the audio chime that pulls a dispatcher's head up. This is the tray target in action, the everyday face of the feature. Every dispatcher on every page gets the same alert at the same instant. When a warning carries a storm polygon, and tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings do, the situation map draws it, in its severity color, orange for severe, red for extreme. Click the polygon and TicketsCAD lists the units that are physically inside it, recomputed live as they move. Your map stops being a dot of incidents and becomes a picture of who is in harm's way. And the radio? Because we chose Operator Approve, the bulletin does not just vanish onto the air. It arrives here in the radio approval queue as a drafted readout, the very script the voice will speak, call sign and all. A human reads it and presses Send to transmit, or discards it. Nothing keys the repeater without a person in the loop. For an unattended repeater, once you have thrown both locks, that same bulletin skips the queue and keys automatically, synthesized by the very voice you set up in Step 1, with Piper always ready as the fallback. Deduplication guarantees each warning is announced once even if the polar restarts. Attended or unattended, it is the same clean pipeline. You just choose how much of it a human touches. Let us recap the whole build. Set up a voice on the voice and speech page, Piper by default, and test, listen to prove it. Install the poller with a system timer or cron. Turn the feature on and give it a contact email. Add a coverage area with the county picker. Write a rule, target, severity floor, warnings only, and a mode. And for radio, set your call sign and understand the 2 locks on auto fire. That is NWS Weather Alerts in TicketsCAD, from a spoken voice to a warning polygon on your map to a bulletin on your repeater, with the safety and the call sign the rules require. It is the SKY Warn relay, automated and turned off until you decide otherwise. The full reference lives in your documentation, under Weather Alerts. Thanks for watching.